But I love that one so much.
I know. Well, we knew the end. If people are clamoring for more Harvey Pekar, we can do it.
All right. We are here to honor Harvey Pekar, who had been born 75 years ago today. My name is Joe Hoppe. We also have Kathy McCarty and David Thornberry. And this was David Thornberry's idea a long, long time ago. And finally it comes to fruition. So we're going to divide it up. And later, if you have any testimony, if you want to say what Harvey Pekar meant to you, that'd be fine as well, because he meant a lot to us three. He's touched a lot of lives. Grew up in Cleveland, stayed in Cleveland, worked at a VA hospital, mainly for a steady income and insurance. And when he wasn't filing files and hanging out and doing things, he was a jazz critic. He wrote for Downbeat. He wrote record reviews and music criticism for our very own Austin Chronicle. And in the mid-70s, he started writing a comic called American Splendor. And he kind of was on the cutting edge of the whole zine scene. You guys remember that from the 80s? I know Bill does. So he published his own comics, and he was lucky enough to get R. Crumb, who was a buddy of his. David's going to read a story about R. Crumb, to do some of the first. And so they immediately got cachet because there are Crumb drawings. And then people started reading the wonderful stories. So I've got a couple things I want to read before we do some comics. And this is from R. Crumb. This is from the first big book that Harvey did. Who put this out? I should know that. Doubleday. And this would have been in 86. And I got a copy of this from Harvey himself at a Chicago comics convention. And Harvey was sitting back, and I was a little timid to approach him because he's got that curmudgeonly persona, but he was a really sweet guy. And he's much smaller than you think as well. He's maybe 5'6" and kind of fine-boned. So R. Crumb says this so beautifully, I have to share. The subject matter of these stories is so staggeringly mundane, it verges on the exotic. It is very disorienting at first, but after a while you get with it. Myself, I love it. Pekar has proven once and for all that even the most seemingly dreary and monotonous of lives is filled with poignancy and heroic struggle. All it takes is someone with an eye to see, an ear to hear, and a demented, desperate Jewish mind to get it down on paper. There is drama in the most ordinary and routine of days, but it's a subtle thing that gets lost in the shuffle. Our personal struggles seem dull and drab compared with the thrilling, suspense-filled, action-packed lives of the characters who are pushed on us all the time in movies, TV shows, and adventure novels, and those other comic books. What Pekar does is certainly new to the comic book medium. There's never been anything even approaching this kind of stark realism. It's hard enough to find it in literature, impossible in movies and TV. It takes chutzpah to tell it exactly the way it happened, with no adornment, no great wrap-up, no bizarre twist, nothing. Pekar's genius is that he pulls this off and does it with humor, pathos, all the drama you could ever want, and in a comic book yet. So I got this old poem, and I wrote it after Harvey died. He died 7/11 in the year 2010. Harvey Pekar's dead. I'd always hoped that somehow Harvey would settle into the grooves he cut through his writing, grooves of deeply digging, the smell of fresh bread, cars finally starting at 10 below zero, thrift store scores, the epiphanies of co-workers did indeed add up to some kind of American splendor. Showing me how perspective, artistic distance could get you through, get you by, even get you past. Our man's words illustriously illustrated by Gary Dumm and Art Crum reassured me 4 o'clock in the morning, anxious, sweating about my place in this world. Senior year at Michigan, mailing 3 resumes every weeknight nationwide, never got a single interview. Harvey spurred me towards making my own life, screwing external circumstances. So when my first job after earning a bachelor's degree was third shift at an Amoco station, I thought it was more funny than tragic. After the movie, after awards and recognitions for his big bound book, my fondest wish was somehow those sweet moments that make up his comics would run together for Harvey, that he would settle down in a comfy Goodwill chair listening to jazz on vinyl, take some notes and sip a Nesbitt's orange, that he'd get hip to what he showed me and a whole lot of other folks who I hope were paying attention. Just look at it right. And there is a whole lot of gravy we get in this life. It isn't ironic at all to glory in its splendor. And so now we're going to try to read you some comics. This is Harvey alone. We should have maybe brought a laser pointer so you could follow the... Is there a laser pointer in the house? So you could follow the panels, but I thought this would be interesting and fun, so...
Most of the time, I think you can read them okay.
Yeah.
Mostly we're projecting for the art anyway, because the art is so great and so much part of the story.
Man, I'm losing this short weekend.
Oh, you know what? I think I have.
It's in here somewhere. My eyes were, it's in this, I know it's in here, but I'm just losing it here. Maybe it's here.
I'll see if it's in this one, you never know.
That's a long one. So, sorry guys. There we go. Okay. Short weekend. A story about the cosmic and the ordinary. And you can switch pages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Saturday morning. Here's our man. The guy with no chick and a lousy job going to check out his post office box. This is the high point of his week. I ain't checked my box out in a week because it's so disappointing to go there every couple of days and not get any mail. Maybe today I'll get a real surprise. A couple of people owe me letters. I hope I hear from somebody. Oh man, I hope. Nothing. Well, why would there be anything? I was figuring that since I hadn't heard from anyone in so long that the percentages were with me of getting a letter from them today. I was counting on the law of averages. But things can get bad and just stay bad all the time, like they do for some of those poor people in India. They can get bad and then get worse and then you die. You got no guarantee that your luck's going to change, that the brakes will even up. Law of averages? There is no such thing as a law of averages. A leaf sweeps by. I don't know though. I want to be happier, but maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on happiness. How long does happiness last? Life is short. You might be happy for a while, but then you get old and sick and you die. Maybe the guy who's had a happy life feels worse just before he dies than the guy who's had a sad one. The guy with a sad life doesn't have as much to lose. Maybe the thing that counts the most is just staying alive. Maybe the most successful man is the guy who lives the longest. Wonder what it's like after death. Probably it's like it is before birth. Is it nothing? Non-existence? That's not hard to understand, but it's hard for people to accept. It's hard for them to imagine not existing because all their memories are of their existence, not non-existence. And people ain't too crazy about the idea of themselves not existing. They don't think about it much. Some deny the possibility. I wonder if there is an afterlife. People are talking a lot about it these days. Sure would be nice to know what I'm going through now ain't all there is to it. Several leaves pass. What'll I do for the rest of the day? It's 10 o'clock Saturday morning and already I don't feel like doing anything. Maybe I'll go home and watch some kid shows on TV. I like some of them. This guy's weekend is over, but he'll try again next week. He really doesn't have much choice.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's great.
What else we got?
Next is class antagonism.
Oh, this is fun. So you see another Harvey here, and this great portrayal of his body language. You can just see he's being ornery. And I should have marked this, I'm sorry. Let's see what we got.
Who's the artist?
That's a good question.
The artist on this
Oh,
one
you-
is Jerry
I
Saunders.
should know this.
Jerry, it's all Shandlin.
It's one of the best. He's one of the
Yeah, it's
best.
one of
Yeah,
the
'cause he gets
really,
that's
really
great.
best.
Him and Crumb.
And if I can see, I can make it a little bit smaller, but it's gonna get big again on us.
Okay. Story by Harvey Pekar, illustrated by Jerry Shamray. Kathy, do you want to be the secretary or receptionist?
Okay.
Receptionist. Hey, can I have a piece of that cake?
No. And do you know why?
Yeah, I do, but tell me anyway. It'll give you any pleasure.
You never bring any food yourself. You never. Okay, this is getting too. It's too blurry. I can't read.
Okay.
I'm going to have to pull out my book here too.
Okay, we'll
It'll
try
just, it'll
again.
just take me a second because I haven't marked it.
Is-
So, and the slides are made by you taking pictures with your phone?
Yeah, I just took pictures with my phone. I
Which
did.
is why they're kind of
Okay.
blurry.
Yeah, mostly I just wanted people to have.
I actually kind of love it that you did that.
It's the only way to do a Harvey.
Well, the thing about it is that I just wanted people to be able to see the art.
Uh-huh.
And then it wasn't until we got here, it's kind of like, oh, then we're actually going to have to, we decided like 1 second before we came in,
Okay.
we were going to do it like a play.
Let's start
Okay.
again.